How are you, Anthony?
I'm good, Mo. Let's talk about that game on the weekend. What a comeback. What a gutsy effort by your squad. Yours with the first goal and then Massimo Mirabelli. Let's talk about this season, Mo. That was a good win, but this is a young squad, and week in, week out, you guys are going up against guys that are in their mid-20s, some in their early 30s, veterans for many, many leagues. This has got to be great for your development and your young squad. Talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. When you want to play, you always want to play against people with more experience, and experience comes with time. So people that are older than you obviously have more experience. It's definitely good. A lot of those guys have played other places other than USL, so it's good for me. It's good for a lot of the younger guys to play against people older than them for just to get a little bit more experience themselves and try to develop before they move on to something else.
Mo, you can really see on your young squad all season long that a lot of young guys are hungry. A lot of the young guys want to impress. A lot of the young guys want to make sure that they're giving 110% each and every time out there. You were part of League One last year in TFC Academy, and you scored a ton of goals and obviously a lot of success with that squad. A lot of guys coming over to this USL squad. How good is it that the familiarity is there with a lot of your teammates understanding one another on the field, but also off the field, making this big jump?
It's definitely a great step. Like, I mean, we're as we move forward, you want to keep a core group of players that are moving together, whether it's moving up or staying in the same spot, because that just brings chemistry to the team. So the familiarity of everyone being together is definitely there, and whether it's in the training ground or in a game situation, you can see it sometimes. And for the younger guys coming up in some of the games when we have to fill in roster spots, it's good for them to get an opportunity to show what they're capable of doing.
Well, let's talk about your fans. No disrespect to the Montreal Impact fans, but I was watching that game last week, midweek game around lunchtime, and I know maybe that might have been a problem to attract some fans out to their game, but you could count how many people were in the stands there literally. But at your home games, since the first game at the Ontario Soccer Centre, people have come out to support you. Those supporters in that corner there didn't stop singing all game again. I mean, that's got to be great because you guys have had some rough games and they still have come out to support you, and they were there full force again singing from minute one to the end. Talk about the fans.
The fans they've been phenomenal. We haven't had the best season. We're trying to get back on track now, but the fans have been unreal. They come out every game and you can hear them throughout the whole game. And just having that behind you is an extra push for the team. It motivates the team. You can see when at the end of every game we try to applaud the crowd for coming out. We thank them for coming out because they're the ones that make this team, to be fair.
Mo, you talked about motivation, and let's talk about that. I remember last year, from the first time I saw you playing with TFC Academy, I said, this is a special player. This young man is going to go on to a lot of success. And here on Red Card on my show, Mo, we tell it the way it is. We don't sugarcoat it. Many, many guys came up to me and saying, Anthony, he's too small. He doesn't have what it takes. I got right into their grill house and said, look, some of the best finishers worldwide are guys that are smaller in stature, big in heart, and smart upstairs in the brain. You have proved time and time again, wherever you've played, Mo, whether at League One, now at USL, at the Pan Am Games for Canada, you score. How important is it for you to have that chip on your shoulder to make sure that all those people that didn't believe in you now look back and say, wow, we were wrong about this guy?
Yeah, I mean, there are going to be critics out there, so on your part, you can either take it how it's said and let it have a negative influence on you, or you could embrace it and try to prove them wrong. It's a little bit of both for me, but it's always motivating. I always want to go out there and show what I can do, whether it's the people that support me or the people that don't.
Mo, when you put on that jersey for Canada for the first time, what were the feelings and what was going through your mind?
Yeah, it was a great honor. To be honest, I didn't know how to feel at first. Not nervous, definitely not. Always looking up for new challenges and new adventures. So it was a great feeling for me. That first game versus Brazil, like I couldn't even hear what my teammates were saying. So it was definitely great. You could see that the quality of soccer in Canada is growing. The fans are being more supportive of it, and it was just a great feeling overall.
Mo, let's talk about that quality. Obviously, it wasn't a real successful Pan Am Games for Canada, but nonetheless, you went toe-to-toe with a couple nations there in the last couple games, and obviously with Brazil, we know what the score was there. But for the most part, coming out of that second half against Brazil, we saw a lot of good things from your young squad, and you know now what it takes to get to that level playing other countries. How far in your mind do you believe we are from, let's say, the USAs, the Mexicos, the Costa Ricas, countries in CONCACAF? Take away Brazil because we know they're going to be a world power forever. But what about in CONCACAF? How far are we, Mo?
I don't think we're that far off. We got some good coaches. There's a lot of experience. They're trying to bring in a new system that Canada's unfamiliar with. So it is going to take time. It is a process, but it is also you could see that it's working. We're getting results, and we only won. The men's team only lost 1-0 to Colombia last year in a friendly. You can see the quality. You could see it. We're lacking a bit of goals, but I think understanding the system a little bit more and working with Benito, people will start understanding the system more, and hopefully we start producing goals and producing what we need to do to win games.
Mo, what's the vibe when you were there in the Canada camp amongst your teammates? Do they want to continuously represent Canada when they get called up? Are they honored? Is it a challenge for them to get Canada to respectability? Because in years past, Mo, and even still today, there's some guys that are having success overseas or in South America that don't want to put on that red jersey, but when it comes time to retire and pack it in, they want to come to the greatest country in the world with their family. That bothers me. Your thoughts?
Through the Pan Ams, when we were all staying together, a lot of the young guys, they come up going playing for the national team. So for them, if they haven't left now, I don't see why they would want to leave later. They love representing Canada. It's a great time. You get to meet new people every new camp, right? There's a core group again that have stayed together and they do know each other from before, or they're in the same squad and on their club teams. But you can see it. Everyone's friendly with each other. Everyone loves being around each other, and for me, it was my first time, but I got to know a bunch of people, and it was great. It was great getting to know these people.
Let's talk about this young TFC2 squad. Who's the jokester on the road when you guys are on the road? Who's the guy that likes to make a lot of mischief in the locker room and out there with you guys?
I personally know this person from before he came to TFC, so Raheem. Raheem's a jokester.
Boy, oh boy, and Raheem Edwards has had a great season as well. There's another one, League One Ontario product. Where is your favorite city that you've visited so far in the USL, Mo?
In the USL? Man, that's pretty tough. It'd have to be between New York and Vancouver.
Let's talk about maybe some of the things you like to do away from the pitch. What do you like to do to unwind and to relax?
I actually do some coaching on the side. I really enjoy it, working with kids and just giving back and trying to teach them what I've learned in the past. I'm also, when you do stuff like that, you tend to learn too, from the coaches around you. So it's nice because I'm understanding the game a little differently, being like coaching from the side. So I do that, and I just like to relax really.
Who are you coaching? Which age group and who are you helping out, Mo?
I'm over at Milton Magic. My buddy Matt O'Connor, kind of my mentor. He runs the club there. He's a technical director. I work between the ages of 7 and 13, 14.
And that's got to be a great age bracket to work with. What's the most important thing you want to instill in these youngsters when you get them the first few sessions out there? Obviously, once they get to training more and more, you're going to institute some more difficult things to work on. But what are some of the first things you want them to understand at the beginning?
Uh, they need to understand that if they want to be better than the guy beside them, that they got to put in more time than the guy beside them. So that first and foremost is probably the biggest motivation that they feed off of is they got to do a little more than everyone around them. So whether it's kicking a ball on their own or doing some extra training and stuff.
Let me ask you a couple more questions and then we'll let you go. We really appreciate your time. Let me get your thoughts on this, Mo. You've played a lot of youth soccer yourself, and I'm sure there was many tournaments and many league championships you won, and maybe there was some that you didn't. And I got to tell you, with my first son, I collected all the participation medals. But with my second son, any opportunity I had for him to get a participation medal for finishing whether at the bottom or second from the bottom, I basically threw out. I believe that in my house anyway, that it is important to breed and bring up young men that know how to win, but also know how to play the game full out and not have kids being given a medal for each and every competition they're in, whether they finish dead last or in the middle. I think it's important to reward these young kids. What is your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Kids are they're naturally competitive. They always want to win. So if you start rewarding everyone by the time they hit the age where you don't reward anyone, it's just a different feeling for them. I feel like there shouldn't be that equality and everyone wins or whatever like that. No, it's like there's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or whatever, and you can go all the way to 10th if you want, but at least you know where you stand, and that just brings a competitive edge out of the kids. And as they grow older, it's just natural for them because they just want to win, right?
Last year you had a quality young coach in Michael Stefano who did some outstanding things with some young players that are now on your squad there with TFC2. This year, another young coach in Jason Bent and Stuart Neely, the veteran, the guy that really communicates. What do you want in as a player from your coach? What are some of the things you need from your coach as a player out there? Is it someone that communicates throughout the game? Is it someone just that sits there and then at halftime explains what they're looking for? Because I got to tell you, Mo, you played Richmond last game, and I could sense not only Richmond and some other teams that have come here to Toronto that there is some friction between some veteran players and their own coaches on the sideline. And to me, I think that's embarrassing. I think that's disrespectful. If you got to do it in the change room. Your thoughts?
I feel like whether you're on the pitch or off the pitch, just a mutual respect between the coach and player. And I'm one of those players that if I need to voice my opinion about something, I will do it. But you do it in a respectful manner, and you talk like a grown man. At the end of the day, sometimes you see things differently, and there's no need to bump heads about it. You just talk about it, and you try to find a solution for what's best for the team.
Well said. Lastly, as we let you go, Mo, who has been instrumental in your life to get where you're at? There's a lot of young men that would love to be in your position today, playing as you did for Canada and TFC2, and a real strong shot of playing for the senior team. Who do you want to thank? Has there been a parent, a sibling, a youth coach that has stuck by you through thick and thin when a lot of people counted you out? Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, obviously, family's always been behind me. I really want to thank Coach Tony. I started off playing with him with Dixie, and he kind of got me into playing organized soccer, so I really want to thank him. My brother-in-law has always kind of been like a second mentor to me. Miles O'Connor, Andrew Siraj, who have been my coaches also at Sheridan College, but really good friends to me as well. I work with them. All the coaches that I've gone through, whether it was in college or at TFC or anywhere else that I might have played, and just the guys that have always pushed me to do what I know how to do best.
Mo, we'll let you go. We really appreciate your time. Good luck tomorrow night against Harrisburg, and continued success in your career. I'm sure we'll hear a lot more of you with Team Canada, and hopefully one day sooner than later in MLS. Mo, thanks again, and we will see you tomorrow night out there on the pitch, my friend.